Hello.
Well, week 2.
Week 33.
Week 2.
Week 2 of leg 2.
Week 2 of leg 2.
Of our
week 33 of
week 33
the whole thing.
Of our awesome scribble across Australia trip.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we started the week in Tathra, which was a very cute little town.
Tathra was awesome.
It was beautiful, wasn't it? So on the east coast of Australia, southern New South Wales.
Yep.
Really relaxed, chilled vibe, I thought there.
And everything's so close. Like, you're really close to Merimbula and Pambula and all that sort of thing. If you wanted to go south, we'd been, so we didn't go. But yeah, it's just a really laid back little spot. The caravan started off really well with the eco camp we stayed at.
Yeah.
Tathra Beach Eco Camp.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic little caravan park sort of.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
It was beautiful, yeah.
Had a really nice field to it as well, in that there were kangaroos jumping around all the time. It was very eco-friendly. Just really cared about the environment. There was like an area where they would obviously they didn't while we were there, but they would do Aboriginal talks and teach you about the land and things like that, which I really liked.
It was excellent. It was and really little open, like they had a central pit fire, so instead of everyone having their own fires, came together, which is nice. You come together and chat to other people and that, so that was good.
That was really nice. And even just all the staff there were really friendly, really nice. Highly recommend that.
Definitely get down to Tathra Eco Camp. Yep.
And the town itself, so it's right on the beach, as you'd kind of expect along that part of the world, which was a really nice beach. Not warm enough really to swim while we were there, but really nice walk. We went down to the jetty, which is the smallest jetty I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's meant to be a deep water jetty too, but it doesn't go that far. It's amazing. So it must be a rock shelf and then it drops off.
Yeah.
So we saw there an old sort of, I don't know, it must have been a little wharf sort of storage house, something which they converted to a little cafe, and had a beautiful breakfast in there.
That was
lovely.
Gorgeous in there, and the views from there, sitting in the window looking out, that was really nice. And the breakfast, yours was better than mine, but it was really nice.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And beautiful bakery, so beautiful pastries and all that in there too.
Yeah, it was gorgeous, wasn't it?
Go and check that jetty there. There's a little museum there too at the top.
Yeah.
You can go into. We didn't actually go into it. We were sort of, well, not really pressed for time, but we thought, another museum. But it looked nice. Some people went in and said it was quite interesting. Isn't it? If you're into maritime stuff and that,
you'd probably enjoy it.
So
we preferred to chat to the people on the wharf because they were roping the stumps for the jetty, weren't they? So,
well, they were taking away some of the pylons because over the years it's timber pylons, so they've kind of slowly rotted away and that. So they're replacing a lot of the pylons. They're obviously putting new timbers or concrete pylons, and so there's a lot of marine life which lives on the pylons. So it's a university and sort of Department of Conservation and Wildlife trying to preserve some of the just the marine life on the pylons there. So that was pretty interesting to have a chat to them about that too. Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah. And then you could do a little walk kind of from there around to the cliff tops. Kind of took you around to the pub. So
all roads seem to lead to the pub.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? The pub was kind of out of the way, and yet all roads led there, which was. So
it was a nice pub, beautiful balcony and outlook.
Yeah, nice food, and on a Sunday afternoon, good music.
Good music, blues band playing, so that was nice. We went back for dinner.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
So that was a good little spot. We stayed there for a few nights and then left and headed through Bermagui for lunch. Well, we called in for lunch. Again, beautiful beach. I mean, all the beaches along the south coast of New South Wales are really
we stopped
pretty.
at that German sort of Italian, European...
the European Cafe, I think
European Cafe or something there. Oh, fantastic.
Really good.
Beautiful pork knuckle sandwich and... What did you have? The soup,
I had the French onion soup.
French onion soup.
A bit of French.
Fantastic. If you're ever craving... not we haven't been able to get to Europe
for a while.
So we were craving a bit of Europe, and there it was, and it was fantastic. German couple run it, and
it was really nice, really
nice.
Authentic, good food. So then we headed from Bermagui, we headed straight on to Narooma, and again another really beautiful part of Australia, wasn't it?
It was awesome. The Narooma Park right on the water there was fantastic. Great facilities, and perfect location. And then
perfect spot.
And because really nice walks and accessible walks. So you walk one way around to this sort of map of Australia rock. So it's kind of a hole in the rock.
That was cool.
That was like in the shape of Australia, which I never noticed until we walked around there. That was like the map of Australia. They should call it the map of Australia.
That's what it's called. Funny enough.
But and then the other way was sort of over the sort of bridge and then onto almost a little boardwalk along the hugs sort of the mountainside.
It was really cool.
Yeah, in through the little inlet there,
yep.
and out to the sort of the ocean side of things, and that was really nice. And there were seals and fishermen, just
and stingrays.
Stingrays.
How cool is it?
The
so
stingrays,
and the stingrays and the seals came right up to the
because the guys were gutting
the
their
guy
fish.
was trying to feed the.
Yeah, they were gutting fish. They've been out fishing, so they caught fish. So they were gutting fish. So the stingrays really cool. And the seals were there, just picking up the scraps.
But even when you walked around the other side of the little inlet, the stingray was right up close to the edge, so you didn't have to go out into the water to see it. You could just stand on the ocean
Australia rock,
on the edge.
There was a couple of massive stingrays in the water. So there's some really awesome marine life there for if you like snorkeling and scuba diving and that. It was fantastic. So.
And then we also walked around to the jetty, what they call the jetty there. Everything was closed, unfortunately, the day we went there.
So they were getting ready for the Oyster Festival. Yeah. So we were there on must have been
Monday,
or Tuesday.
It was. And so it looked really cool. So if you've got your times right, maybe check before you walk around.
And there's a little group of shops, a little group of cafes and that as you get there. There's also up over the hill, there's more. So they're not it. So keep walking a bit further.
Yeah, but really cool. So and then we loved Narooma, and when we left there we went on to Tilba we'd seen it on the way in. So Tilba's actually on the way into Narooma, but we didn't stop on the way in because we can't turn around apparently in our van. Doesn't turn around. Aid won't go backwards, so we have to just keep driving straight. So if we miss a town, it's bad luck. But this time I did get him to relent, and when we left Narooma we went back to Tilba. And I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, it was nice.
That was a little gem
beautiful
of a place.
Little cheese sort of the town's
really
all dairy area through there, and so there's a lot of little towns that have cheese factories in them, and that. And Tilba had some beautiful cheese factories in it. And that, so a great place to stop and have scones and jam and cream. And
Devonshire tea was perfect, wasn't it? In the little Tilba tea house was beautiful. But really, just it's an old town, and you could see where all the buildings are from, and really quaint little town. I would say some really nice shops. And then we were on to back into the Big Smoke for Canberra.
Well, we were going to stop for a night of beach camping, but it started pouring with rain, so we put in an SOS call to a friend, Anna, who used to live below us in Pran. We said, because we were going to go and see her the night after, and we said, we're going to come a night early, is that all right? She said, yep, come over. So we made a beeline to Canberra for a warm apartment. Had a couple of nights with Anna.
Yeah, that was really lovely.
That was awesome. Yeah.
So Canberra, we kind of never quite know what to expect with Canberra, because it is obviously the country's capital, but it can feel a little like it's just full of politicians and a little kind of soulless, really. But actually, what we found when we got to Canberra was a really vibrant city, didn't we?
Yeah.
I don't know, I think since I was last there years and years ago, it's lifted its culture game somewhat.
Definitely the restaurants and the food culture, and there was 2 breweries there. So after we had a couple of nights with Anna, and we went to the portrait gallery. The
portrait gallery, that was awesome.
That was there from the London Portrait Gallery. Yeah,
so Shakespeare to Winehouse.
Yep.
Which was actually Amy Winehouse, not a beer hall / winehouse as Aid initially thought it was.
Thought it was, yeah. Well, he did enjoy a wine.
He did enjoy it. Well, all writers do, don't they? But that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was I really enjoyed that.
It was excellent.
The gallery and the images in there. They weren't all paintings of old blokes. There were young women, Amy Winehouse. There was multimedia photography.
There was also sculpture. There was photography, paintings.
Everything.
It was different mediums.
That was good.
Yeah, it was excellent.
It was good. And then after we left Anna, we stayed in Canberra, but our friends Andy and Cal came up because it was somebody's birthday. The big 5-0. So friends came up to join us to celebrate Adrian's birthday in style.
Yep.
Which meant basically a trip to the brewery.
A couple of breweries,
A couple of breweries.
We've got to try them out. Yeah.
So our first brewery was Bentspoke Brewey, and actually we should say also our Delica buddy, who you might remember from Litchfield and from the West Coast last year, came to join us in Canberra as well. So he surprised Aid in Canberra at the War Memorial, funny enough, and we all toddled off to Bentspoke Brewery, where we were well looked after, and where you got to try all the beers. It was a fantastic
night. Beautiful beers and great meal. Really a great environment really too. What's the street? What was that area?
We were in Braddon, so it's quite a main part of Canberra. Braddon.
Yeah, if you're really into food and your breweries and that sort of thing, I think Braddon's a pretty cool spot.
Pretty cool
to stay, because there's a lot happening around there. The next day after that, we were back to another brewery. Oh no, where did we go first?
We went to the museum.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just the
museum,
the Australian Museum.
Yeah.
And so I learnt all about Australia's history. That I really like that museum. That's the second time I've been there, and I was determined to go back because I really enjoyed it the first time.
They were doing some renovations really though, so there were some parts of it that were closed.
Some of the exhibitions had just recently closed.
Yeah.
So they were putting in new exhibitions. But it's a really cool. The Aboriginal history is really cool there, and there's a lot to see. It kind of talks you through all the history of Australia, which is really interesting. And then Aid went to the brewery, and Kelly and I went shopping because I didn't need to sit all afternoon in another brewery. But that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the Capital Brewery was excellent. They've got quite a lot of plenty of beers on tap.
Big too.
It's a big brewery, a big open, sort of like a beer hall more than a little brew pub. So Bentspoke's more like a brew pub, a bit more intimate, but Capital's like a big open beer hall. Really, but the main draw card there, other than the beer, was that AFL was on and Richmond were playing, so that was excellent.
Yeah. And then Italian and Sons for dinner for a special birthday dinner.
50th birthday dinner
for Aid. So that was beautiful, really nice food. Again, back in Braddon, so a good spot to be. And then we couldn't leave without going to the War Memorial.
Yes.
In Canberra. So I love the layout of Canberra always reminds me a bit of Washington, with the wide open spaces, and you've got Parliament House at one end, and then you've got this amazing kind of promenade, which is probably too far to walk, but really amazing. And then you've got the War Memorial at the other end, so you can see the War Memorial from Parliament House and Parliament House from the War Memorial, which I always think is really cool. But before we went to the War Memorial, we went to the bus depot markets, which doesn't sound very appealing.
Yeah.
But
it was excellent.
Small, but really good.
Andy bought some vinyl there, which he was raved about, and just some good food in there too. And that
a little bit of everything, wasn't there?
So,
it was really small, but a little bit of everything.
That was Sunday morning,
even dancing on there,
Yeah, they're just doing some dances. That was Sunday morning. So if you're in Canberra, Kim's Markets, the bus depot markets on Sunday morning.
Yeah, really good.
Really cool hangout.
And then the War Memorial was that's always really interesting, isn't it?
We were limited to 2 hours, weren't we? Which there's a lot to see in the War Memorial, so it's pretty hard. But that 2 hours, I think, is just a COVID thing still. So I imagine that kind of will slowly relax in the coming months, depending on how things pan out. But at the moment, they're trying to limit it to 2 hours to get not so there's not too many people in there at once and that sort of thing. So I think. So, but it was a solid 2 hours trying to look at all the things we wanted to see. Fair to say we didn't quite get through it all, but that's okay. You're never going to get 2 hours. But it's still fascinating.
And you can't take it. I couldn't take it all in. But the one thing for me was that I couldn't quite work out where I was meant to go next. That was the only thing for me that probably was me.
I don't think it really mattered.
Well, you could follow the years.
Yeah.
There was. You could follow the years, but I kept looking, going, oh, the years are wrong. Which probably doesn't matter to most people, but, I like to be quite ordered.
She does like to be very ordered. Yeah.
So I found that, I was confused.
But cross to bear.
For you or me. Both. But that was the War Memorial is always interesting. It's such
it's quite
iconic building in Australia.
Iconic and emotional when you read about what they went through and what happened. So it's you never forget what they did for our country and for overseas, and just, you know,
and you always hear
sacrifices
new
made.
stories.
Yeah.
I think like some of the women's stories I found really interesting as well. What they'd gone through as well, that you don't often hear. We also went up behind the War Memorial. You can go up Mount Ainslie, and from there you've got beautiful views over kind of Canberra and Parliament House and the War Memorial and that whole precinct, which is really lovely. And I think we were there at a really nice time because autumn, I didn't realise Canberra had such beautiful autumn colours and leaves.
Yeah, a lot of the sort of European sort of the reds and the oranges and that in the trees are there. So no, it was lovely.
Really
and we got
time.
lucky because as much as that first night when we came to Canberra together, and it was raining and pouring, then it stopped, and it stopped for like the 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it didn't rain while we were in Canberra.
No.
Which was perfect. And we also did a walk around Lake Burley-Griffin, which is really beautiful. The walk around there, if you go at sunset, it's really pretty walk.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
That was week 33.
That sound is going to end.
That's ending it right here.
So
So we will see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.